Hi, I'm Mara Webster with In Creative Company, and today I'm thrilled to be talking to the wonderful Paulina Alexis all about the series Reservation Dogs. And starting off, I wanted to go back to talking about when you auditioned for the role, because I love the fact that, it was originally written as a male character and they kind of re-envisioned it based on what you did in the audition room. And it was just little notes like he's following everyone else around, kind of the butt of the joke and the dry, funny one. And even just the detail of like he's always eating chips. That was something that you did in the audition. And I was interested in how you kind of looked at the little log line of the character and kind of found your own space to interpret it, knowing that they were potentially going to rewrite the character anyway for you.
Yeah, the way I read the character when they got back to me and they were like, "Oh, the showrunner thinks he'd be funny to read for Willie Jack," and I was reading his like little description, and it was like tall, skinny, like the brute of the joke or the whatever it's called, and always eating chips, always just like following him around, telling jokes, and I just like in native communities that sounds like a lot of people like that I know. So I just like I just thought of like my cousins like or like one of my brothers. Like I had like already like so much inspiration like okay, I just be chill, act like me, but then channel like my cousins or like my brothers or something. And so yeah, so that's what I did when I'd read um the sides for the audition. It was so funny, and I fell in love with it right away, and I was like, oh my God. Some of the stuff that wouldn't roll off the tongue, I would just change it into the way I would say it. And yeah, whenever like there's like trouble with the line, I'd be like, okay, just say it how I would say it. And they love that. And I think that's what got me the role is when I was changing it up. And yeah, I would just say stuff, something that I would say. And then when I got the role, and they asked me how I think she would dress because they changed it from a boy to a girl. I was like, she'd definitely be the one with the braids. Again, like I have a lot of like male figures in my life who like wear like the two braids or the one braid in the hat. And it's just like always like someone in the family. I knew like someone had to have a braid and the hat. And I was like, yeah, she'd definitely be wearing braids every time. In a hat, backwards cap, basketball shorts, Nike, everything. And yeah, just anything comfortable. And yeah, and eventually, like, even like the style became iconic. Some like for Halloween, oh my gosh, like all the kids that dressed up for Halloween, and it's just like so amazing to see how much the show has impacted. So I kind of got carried away, but
No, and I love all those details, and especially because you had such an opportunity to have so much input on the character from a very early stage. And even with what you were talking about with the lines and them just being like, how would you say this? Like, how would you respond to it? And I
mhm.
love that Sterling, who's the showrunner of the series, like throughout filming was always like, you know, Paulina can say whatever she wants, kind of like feel free to like improv and ad lib lines. But it sounds
Yeah.
like you were also the only one that was allowed to do that throughout. Was that something that began right on day one, episode one for you?
Yeah, I remember I think we're on episode one. Yeah, like the pilot. And I think who was it? The Pharaoh, he was trying to improv. Sterling was like, nope, only Paulina could say whatever she wants, whenever she wants. And I was like, okay, cool, cool. That's like pretty it kind of made that makes any sense my job a lot more easier because it's like a show that we're making a show about like basically like res kids. I'm gonna give them res kids. They want res kids. I'll show them what a res kid is. I have lots of family and lots of like people back home my kids like channel. And yeah, a lot of things that she would come up with, it would be something that I would say as well. And yeah, it just felt so easy.
I love that. And you know, one of the great things about Willie Jack as a character is she's so much someone that is about acts of service and showing up for people. You know, it's like I might not always kind of say I love you out loud, but if I do, I'll do it in my own way. But I'm going to show up for you at the end of the day. And so, what was that kind of journey and trajectory of playing a character who always kind of finds something to do for people to express the way that she feels about them?
I don't know. It's kind of like how I am too. Like I noticed, like I even put other people first before me. Like whenever someone's going through something, I always want to help them, and like it's just like a natural gesture. It's not something I go out of my way to do. It's just something that naturally comes to me, and I won't even realize it most of the time until I get really drained. But yeah, I love that the most about Willie Jack is that like yeah, she was really feisty and like tough, but she had heart and she was very strong and she um wasn't afraid to show that she could be vulnerable as well. And yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts about playing Willie Jack.
There's also been such a great opportunity to really look at how she's grown and matured a lot. You know, the show is very much set in that coming of age at a certain point in childhood, kind of going into adulthood. And I feel like for
Mhm.
Willie Jack, there's been so much growth over the three seasons from when we first met her. And it was, you know, I want to get into some like hijinks because it's fun and it's entertaining. And then it very much became, you know, what you were just talking about, where it was like the things I'm doing for the people around me because I care about them. And so, particularly going into season three, how did you want to find that different space of maturity for her?
Mm. It was kind of like I don't know what to say, like expected because expected but unexpected because Willie Jack out of all characters you wouldn't expect her to like in from the episode one you wouldn't expect her to grow up to be a medicine woman, and at the end of the show she's kind of the one who brings everybody together and lets everyone know how important it is to like have each other and like make moments like that special. And yeah, I just thought that was like really beautiful the way she did that. She changed a lot. Like the amount of I feel like I personally grew up a lot with Willie Jack as well. At the time when we started filming, I think I was coming to an end of my rebellious stage, and it was a lot easier to be like real rugged and for the role and for the auditions especially. So, but like yeah, now like the difference between me and Willie Jack now, like I wouldn't go to like a store and like steal or like be swearing so much as she did. But yeah.
She has such a great sense of humor too. Was that something that was very much on the page, or did certain aspects of like her dry wit and sense of humor also just come from how you embodied her?
I think I just wanted to capture how like native people actually are. Like back home, like in the communities, like there's Aloras everywhere, there's cheeses everywhere, there's definitely Willie Jacks, and like everyone's always laughing, and I feel like that's having a sense of humor is like something that I feel like every native person has. Like we could all crack a joke no matter how sad like we are. And it's like we like learn to cope that way, and like laughter is medicine. So I think incorporating that with Willie Jack was very easy, and I wanted, like I said, I wanted to show real like native humor, like how we actually are, like that's it's real. And like how Willie Jack, my character, was. That's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like if you come home to like where I live, like you could see that times like 100. And like, yeah, my family, we're so funny. And like even all my cousins, like they're so funny. They're all like a bunch of Willie Jacks. And like I just get like so much inspiration from all of them when it came to that. And it was so easy that almost like when everyone like kind of found out about the show, they're like, oh my God, this is so different. And it's like, yeah, I knew it was different because I've only ever seen like that, like back home. And you don't see it on TV, and I've never seen it on TV. So like now that it's finally out there, I like don't really like I don't want people to feel alone when it comes to like how to explain it. I want people to see themselves on TV too. And I think that really hit home when people would start to reach out to me and be like, I've never seen anyone on TV who looked like me until I watched Reservation Dogs, and like, thank you so much. And just like that makes my heart so happy because I've never had that growing up myself. And that's all I've ever wanted was to just see myself like, or like any like native person like on TV, like being, but like truthfully, like told, like actually, like how we are, not like stereotypical, like Pocahontas singing on top of a mountain to the spirits. Like we're actually pretty funny, down to earth people too, and yeah.
Absolutely. And, even with what you were describing before about, no matter how difficult times are, that there's always that sense of humor, and it's such a central part of community. I love how it's also become a part of the way that they're trying to deal with losing Daniel throughout the series. And it was really beautiful to see that it wasn't something where it was written as a narrative plot point and then everybody moved on and kind of was fully healed. It was throughout the entire duration of the show that was always such a part of this friendship group, was the humor aspect, kind of in really being able to cement these friends with each other, a really important part of how you wanted her to deal with that sense of grief and that sense of loss.
Yeah, I feel like that's how like a lot of people, well, at least where I'm from, um, deal with it because, well, I guess here's an example. Well, last year, I actually had a cousin who um passed away. She took her own life. She was only 20, and it was really, really emotional. We were close. We were really close growing up. And at her funeral, because of how my cousin was, she was always smiling. She was always laughing. I remember I always used to make her laugh. I used to love making her laugh. She was the easiest person to make laugh, and she had the most funniest, cutest laugh ever. And so that's kind of how people knew her. She was always like laughing and like smiling. And then at her funeral, it was beautiful because we didn't want it. We didn't want to remember that day as like sad, like oh, like she would want us to be laughing and cracking jokes too. And so like at her funeral, I just remember like I was like cracking jokes like with your mom and all the cousins, and like it wasn't even like it just felt like she was there laughing with us. Like I think that's
It's
really sweet.
it's such a beautiful way to remember someone. Like I had a family member where it's like all my memories at the end are just of everybody telling stories and laughing and joking because it's so much a part of it. And I love the way that the show captures such a sense of community around everybody as well. And for Willie Jack, it feels like that's always been important to her, but it became even more important in this last season because it is that journey of, I want to be a medicine woman, I want to learn from my elders, and I love the knowledge that they're here to share with us because they're not going to be here for all of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do you feel like her relationship with the elders in the community kind of really evolved and really grew in this last season?
I really like how um out of all the characters, she was the one who chose to connect to Fixaco and ask him like, "Where are you going?" Like, "Oh, I'm going to the Happy Hunting Ground." And it's like, what? Like, she's all interested, and she's like, who's gonna? She's concerned, like, who's gonna take over when you're gone? Like, we need somebody here, and yeah, I just feel like even like back home, like we're always like in Native communities, we always just want to like look after our elders. I think that's just like something we all like grow up knowing like naturally. And so when it comes to like catering to them and like talking to them, just because they're people too, we want to make them like, like, and yeah, I really love how they added that about Willie Jack. It was, I was like, yes, like, even though like we didn't get to see her be that bad, like I feel like could have seen Willie Jack be even more bad to her potential, but also like her like coming to medicine moment. It just makes so much sense. Like, cause you gotta be like young and dumb to be old and wise, you know? And yeah, Willie Jack's she's definitely got heart, and she would definitely be the one to go and hang out with the elders out of everyone and have a good time.
I think I'm going to steal the phrase about you've got to be young and dumb to be old and wise.
Yeah.
And also I wanted to talk a little bit about the way that you kind of approach filming scenes on the show as well, because I've heard you describe that for you it's very much, diving into the scene, thinking about the character's intention and not necessarily wanting to rehearse it. And so has that always been something that's kind of just been the way that you dive into things where it's, I want to find the performance on camera in the moment so that it's all kind of fresh as I'm discovering it?
Yeah, I found a lot that I would work better if I didn't rehearse. Like, if I would have just read the lines once, I knew the intention of the scene, then I'd be fine. But if they were to call us to set and they'd be like, "Hey, we're gonna rehearse," like, then we rehearsed like 5 times, and I'm like, "Did y'all record that? Because that was really good." And I feel like I just get all the naturalness on like the first take, and then once like the more takes I do, I feel like it gets old. So like I like to sell it right away in rehearsal. So I would tell like season 3 a lot. I was like, I don't like rehearsing unless I ask to rehearse. But yeah, most of the time I just like getting it natural.
It's great. And because I know that partway through filming season 3 was when the showrunner and creative team came to you all on a day that everybody was filming to let you know, this might be the last season of it, so we're going to write it as if it is and really kind of wrap everyone's stories up. How did that change the relationship that you had with showing up with this character every single day and, knowing there might be a finite time to it and just to enjoy every moment?
Oh my God. I think it just made me enjoy every moment even more, like, than I already was, because I think I just like started recording everything more and really like trying to take it in. Like, wow. Like, I didn't believe it. I honestly I did not believe it. Like when he told us like, yeah, this might be the last one. We're writing it like it's the last one. And I'm like, yeah, right. We'll be back. Season 4, we'll be back. Just watch. There's no way. We didn't even like it feels like it's not done. It can't be done. But I'm grateful the way we wrapped it up though, because like even like Willie Jack, like at the end, she was like one of her lines was like, um, I think it's beautiful we all like come together like this, and she brought everyone together. That's kind of like how like she brought everyone together to kind of like leave, and then that's like kind of what it felt like when like we had to like leave the show. And I'm just so grateful for this opportunity Sterling has given me working with everyone. I was like a fan of like most of the people in the show. Like before we even started filming. Debbie Jacobs, Sterling Harsh, like all the 1491s, like Megazy, Bobby Wilson, and such an honor to work with Lily Gladstone and um, Ethan Hawke too. Very, very amazing. I'm just grateful. So yeah.
It's always great when it's that experience and making something with everyone. And I love kind of those final moments and final scenes with Willie Jack too, where she stands in front of everybody to talk at the funeral and is essentially like, I don't usually get up and talk in front of everybody, but it feels important to talk about this right now. And, it was reminding me of, I think it was in season one when she kind of talks about her parents in front of everybody too. And I love those
Mhm.
moments where she kind of feels a little bit shy because she's such a confident character. Did you kind of always,
Mhm.
always see like, yes, she's very confident in spaces that she feels comfortable and that she's with her friends, but like the bigger group settings or maybe the spaces where she's a little bit outside of her comfort zone.
Yeah, cause like usually you see Willie Jack just being like a tough like little shit all the time. She's not really like you never like you wouldn't see her like standing up in a room full of people doing a speech, but also you would because she's not afraid to, and she will get out what she wants to say no matter what, even if she kind of has to embarrass herself a little bit. So like, yeah.
I love it. It's such a great character, and I love everything that you've brought into her over 3 seasons. And so, congratulations on an amazing show, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.